Hi, this is Stacia, and I wanted to share a game that I played at the Parma Chess Club. This was a USCF rated game against Dave Bumba, who had the white pieces, rated 1634, and I played the black pieces, rated 1791. And Bumba opened up with e4, and I played the Scandinavian defense with d5. But this game definitely takes a different flavor than usual. It's not often that I mess up um, the opening, but in this game, I would say that I made a critical mistake in the opening and I end up in big trouble. Um, so I'm going to show you how that happens. All right, he took the pawn. That's the best move. Takes, tempo on the queen. d4, excellent move, getting the center. I played c6, just making a retreat square for the queen. Knight f3, developing. Knight f6. And now the first interesting move of the game, bishop d3. Okay, so often c4 is the best square for the bishop, but this is kind of interesting because I want to develop my bishop to f5. And the bishop on d3 says, good luck with that. And I've looked at some lines and some responses. Bishop g4 is considered the only real move, but you can play bishop f5. This is playable, and so I gave this a try after analyzing this prior to this game. My point is that I want to trade this bishop, so I'm offering a trade. Basically, I just want him outside the pawn chain. I don't care if he gets traded. And then I want to play e6 as soon as possible. But I don't think I'll be playing this again. Now, in the game, he castled. And this allowed me to just trade him. And I'm fine here. I can play e6, and this is totally fine. But what I realized after the game is that White actually has this very interesting move, b4. Okay, tempo on the queen. Notice the queen is defending this bishop laterally. So where do we go to continue defending? Can't go here. This square's gone. This square's gone. This square's gone. So there is no square. So pretty much this is forced. Now we take a pawn, and then we take the knight. So we get a pawn. But now I feel like my queen is really vulnerable here. So like it might go bishop d2, queen c4, more harassment here. I could check, I guess, but bishop e3, and this is kind of the line. And I decided that in this position, I'm pretty sure white has compensation for the pawn. They're going to have a nice open b file for their rook. I can't really comfortably push b6 because then this pawn is weak. My queen is awkward, and I don't have development. So I really feel like white's probably, the computer says equal, but I would say it's got to be way easier to play white here. And black's going to be fighting for equality. So, okay, so I won't be playing bishop f5 anymore. And sorry, maybe that's a little too nuanced, but I like looking at nuances in the opening. I guess it's one of my favorite things to do. All right, so bishop f5, and like I said, he just castled. So we get this position. Okay, and the critical moment is coming. All right, now he plays bishop f4. Again, interesting move because often the bishop comes to d2 and x-rays the queen. But this is probably better in my opinion because I want to put my queen on c7, and he's covering that square now. So that's pretty annoying. All right, and also sometimes I like to play bishop b4 But if it's not pinning the knight, this isn't really a good move. And so, okay. So I played here instead. And now the move knight e4. So this move has an idea. So if you'd like to pause your video and see if you can guess what the idea is, then do so now. Okay, so this is an idea that I missed in the game, and that's that he wants to put a piece on d6, either the bishop or the knight, and I need to stop this idea. And there's plenty of ways to do it. I can capture the knight. That would be fine. I could castle. That's probably fine too. Um, but I played the move knight bd7, which is so natural looking, just developing my piece. But now white can put a piece on d6. And now another interesting question for you. Which piece should he put on the square? Only one is good. Should he go bishop d6 or knight d6 check? Yeah, and the answer is knight d6 check. I'll just quickly show, like, if bishop d6, I can actually just take this. Or no, actually, I can take the knight is the right way to play this. And now notice that the knight is actually attacking the bishop. So, I mean, this is kind of forced. And I think the resulting position is totally fine for black. In fact, I don't know if white even has an advantage here at all. Black's very solid. And my king's actually great here, ready to come forward in the endgame. So I would try hard to trade queens. I'd be offering a queen trade all the time and getting my rooks on the d file, and I think black's doing just fine there. So bishop d6 is not as accurate as knight d6 check. And the reason this is strong is it not only takes away my castling rights if I ignore this, but it hits this b7 pawn. So yeah, I mean, I think taking is kind of forced. I mean, if I go king f8, for example, I think this is really good. I could maybe go here, but then why not queen b3? And the knight's actually defended by the queen. So I couldn't do that. So instead, I took. So just to show, I took here, and now the bishop comes in. And I mean, if you look at black's pawn structure, I mean, there's really only one weak square, and it's this one. And so now white is in. And they're stopping me from castling queen side or king side, which is my natural next move I'd want to play in the Scandi. But yeah, this bishop's annoying. And white also has the plan of c4 and c5, solidifying that bishop, posting it right in the center. The knight can come to e5. I think it also looks like white has ideas like h3 and, or not h3, a3 and b4, and the pawns are coming as well, and it just seems like I'm just worse after this. So black has to play accurately right now, and so the idea is we need to get rid of this bishop as soon as possible, and the move queen d5 I think is really important. I did not find this in the game, sadly, so this is a move I definitely want to remember. White would play bishop a3 here and has an advantage, but at least I'm okay. Instead, I decided, I was kind of proud of myself that I knew I could play this move, castle queenside. But unfortunately for me, this is not a good way to play, because from here, white has several good moves, but my opponent played c4, threatening c5, And I don't know what I was thinking. I think maybe I thought I wanted my knight on d5. But actually, I think this is just another case of blindness on my part because I played the move knight b6. Now, I really like the computer's plan here. Um, so the computer basically says you need to get rid of this bishop. Makes a lot of sense, right? And it wants to move knight b8. Looks really mysterious. But the idea is to uncover an attack on the bishop. So I think c5 looks natural there. But now knight e8. And we're attacking the bishop. And the bishop has to drop back. And that's the way the computer wants to play, even though I still think this is terrible for black. And this bishop is so good here. I don't know. So, all right, interesting line. So after c4, I go knight b6. And I expected c5, and I'm just going to post my knight in the center. And I'm thinking about sacking the exchange, but I really don't want to do that if I can help it. But my opponent played b4. Computer doesn't like this move so much, but I actually do. I did not see it. It's a tempo move. The bishop is defending the pawn from behind, or from in front, rather. And I have to move my queen. So I don't have a lot of good squares for the queen. I actually thought if I come up here, I'm in danger of just having my queen out of the game or getting trapped even. You know, like something like this. I think the rook may come. I mean, he has to defend this, but there's ideas like this. Maybe the queen comes here or something like that. I don't know. But I was seeing lines where my queen just stays really uncomfortable, so I didn't play that. And I actually went to the square h5. And this is a mistake. The reason being, the only real move to stay in the game is queen f5. And this is a concession for sure. Like after a queen trade, I not only am giving up my center control, but I'm doubling my pawns. So this is definitely a huge concession. c5 still on the menu. In fact, they can play it right now. But the computer, just to say how bad my position is, the computer says this is the best way for black to continue. Okay, well, let's keep going. Queen h5, c5, of course. Jump my knight in. And now the move queen a3 by my opponent. Eyeing this pawn. Computer actually says a6 is okay to play. I was really hesitant to play a6 though. I thought I would just get killed on the dark squares. I didn't want to give up control of b6. But I think my knight is really strong on d5 and very difficult to get out. So I can play a6 because the knight is guarding some of these dark squares. Okay, but I was too scared to play this, so I didn't. And instead, I was desperate to get rid of the bishop, so I played knight e4. Okay, and I really thought white should just take the pawn. That seems really strong, and in fact it is. If he takes, my idea was actually to take the bishop. And I thought after he took back, I thought maybe I could play this way. But I think my calculation was a bit off because, yeah, I was even thinking I would take this. But, yeah, this is a problem because knight e5 comes in. And I'm really close to getting checkmated. Okay, this is a threat already. Oh, my computer doesn't like this. Yeah, I mean, okay, the computer wants me to sack my queen right now. Um, so obviously, this is the threat. So let's just have a look. I mean, what do I do against that? I don't know. If I move the rook, I get mated on d7. Um, so I guess I can't do that. And I don't know how to defend this then. So the computer's second choice is knight b6, but I mean that's just giving away my knight. I don't know. I think this is just losing. So okay, um, but my opponent played b5. Still a good move. And now I went ahead with my plan, and I took the bishop. He took. Okay, and now I can play king b8, defending the pawn. So I really think he should have took that while he could. Why not? I mean, it's a pawn. His queen's in my position, so I really think he should have did that. Now his bishop's gone at least, but I'm still really uncomfortable here. This pawn is actually kind of strong, and I mean, I guess it's weak and strong, but it just seems like white can attack me on the queen side. So my king is not happy, and my queen is way off sides. Okay, so he took, opening things up. I mean, I kind of have to take it back, and the knight comes in with tempo on this pawn, also threatening a fork on my king and rook. Yeah, and if you're wondering what the evaluation is, yeah, black is completely lost. And I knew that during the game. I'm just like, yeah, this is really, really bad. I'm just gonna try to hang on. The one thing I had going for me here is that this is a rapid game, so G30 with 5 second delay. And so, I can hope that it gets down in time pressure and maybe he messes up. That's really the only hope I have, I think. All right. Here he played rook c8. Or I'm sorry, I played rook c8, just defending the pawn. Of course, d7 is a possible move now to keep in mind. Rook a b1 check. Okay. So the computer announces mate in 7 here. I played king a8 in the game. And so if you'd like to pause your video, I'm going to go ahead and show the mate in 7. Okay. So this is actually a critical move he could have played to win. And that's the move queen a6. The point is that it's really hard to stop threats on b7. So he's threatening queen b7 mate right now, and there's not much I can do about it. I can go knight b6, but I think he just takes because of the pin. Yeah, this pawn is pinned. And now, rook b8 doesn't really work. Knight takes c6. Yeah, and now the computer just wants to give away pieces, like so queen a5 is kind of funny. Queen takes. Yeah, so I'm getting mated on a7 is the point. So lucky for me, he didn't find that move. Queen a6 is definitely just crushing here. But my opponent played knight d7. And I see his point. He wants to bring his knight in here, and it's pinned. The pawn is pinned. He also has the rook on that square, so, but this is unfortunately not the right idea here. I played f6. I'm just trying to desperately get my queen into the game. And yeah, and I would even call this move a blunder. Knight b6 check. Problem with this is I can take it with the knight, and even though he recaptures, he lost a very excellent attacking piece. So I would say white's still better here, but the attack has fizzled a bit. All right, and I brought my queen into the game. He played queen a4. Yeah, here, attacking the pawn. Keeping the pin as well. He needs to because otherwise I'll take the rook. And, all right, so I play queen d7, defending the pawn, but also attacking this one, which is kind of nice. Also, the queen is defending this now, which is also good. And of course, rook f to b1, double on the b file. And this is actually a mistake, though, and we are both in time pressure here. I know I'm in time pressure like every game. Some of you guys have told me that, and you're right. You're absolutely right. But at least he was too in this case. And yeah, really, he needs to play queen a6 here again. That would definitely be a stronger move to maintain an advantage. The problem with rook f to b1 is I can actually challenge on the b file now. I have the move rook b8, and he can't move his rook away because that would be checkmate. So he's kind of forced to trade. And now my other rook gets in the game. And yeah, I mean, what can he really do? And the computer says this position is equal. So I would call that the Scandi survival swindle. No, I don't know. I basically got lucky that he didn't find some precise moves to win because I was definitely completely lost. And I will show you some more moves. Here, I actually need to go king c8. I think I did in the game. And yeah, I don't actually have the notation for the rest of the game. I'm pretty sure that he did something like this, and I offered a queen trade. Wonder if that's a blunder. Yeah, he could take that. This did not happen in the game, so I'm trying to figure this out now, unfortunately. But basically what happened is I got a queen trade. And so I'll just do it. I know this doesn't necessarily make sense, but it was something like this. He started bringing his king up, and I came here, and I took this guy. And yeah, I was actually a little bit better in this position, but we both had under a minute, and he agreed to a draw. So yeah, survived this game somehow. I'm gonna look back to the key moment of the game because I think I like to learn one thing from my games, and I think the move I missed, or the idea that I really missed, was this knight e4 move. This whole thing with getting a bishop on d6 was a thorn in my side the entire game and resulted in a horrible position. So, yeah, this whole thing, this knight d7 move, allowing this check, this should not be allowed. White has all these awesome ideas now. And then castling queenside is the other move I would not do again. Instead, I would play queen d5 and just attack this bishop. And he does have bishop g3, but at least he's not like right in my face the entire game. Like I can probably just castle now or something. I could probably castle and like this is probably okay. Like he can get c4, but yeah, I don't know. Something like this would have been um, much more acceptable. In fact, I wouldn't do that. I'd probably go back to a5. Yeah, and I think here black is going to be okay. White has their normal like opening advantage, but nothing more. So I hope you enjoyed this game and learned something from it. I feel like I did. Um, Yeah, and I know I got out of this one. I should have lost in dramatic fashion, but sometimes chess is like that. Even when you have a strong attack, you do have to find moves like Queen A6 and close out. So, um, all right. Well, thank you for watching if you did, and have a great day. Bye.